When you have filed a lawsuit and you know that in order for you to be able to prove your case, you're going to need evidence and testimony from people who are close to you in some capacity, whether it be coworkers, family members, friends, or other loved ones. As this case goes on and their involvement in the case goes on, the relationship with them may change over time. And it's important for you to understand when you're sitting there involving them in the case and you have to provide information or evidence that puts them in a light that may not be the most favorable light, there's a decent chance they're going to internalize how you presented that information to the court or to the body that you're dealing with. And because you are presenting information about them in a particular light, if you haven't given them the opportunity to know that's where you're going to come at them, they may look at you a little differently after the case is over, now knowing that that's how you have viewed them with regards to the particular circumstance you're dealing with. But you got to understand a reality. You have two types of preparation realities. One is you can prepare them. The other one is you can't prepare them. And this is where an attorney is very helpful. In cases where you can't prepare them, sometimes the great example is when you're in an employment situation. You may have friends that you worked with and you lost your job and you're going to sue the employer. Well, as long as your friends who are employees are working for the employer, they're operating as agents of that employer. So therefore, they're not just your friends who can hook you up outside of the workplace. They have to be very careful that they don't put themselves, and you don't put yourself in legal peril by trying to get them to cooperate to cause harm. Because remember, they're still working for the employer. So in some legal instances, you may not legally be able to prepare them so that even if they have expressed an interest in participating and so forth, you have to be mindful of the fact that one, they may not volunteer to participate because they may feel that in an employment situation or the situation they're in, they're not able to. Or two, you may only get them to come out is that if you compel them. And even though you may compel them, you may not have any clue what they're going to say. And more importantly, they're not going to have any clue what you're going to say. So in those legal situations where you're not able to prepare them, you stand a very decent possibility that your relationship with them will change once information about the circumstances comes out into light, since neither one of you had the opportunity to filter that information or at least have a discussion about it prior to. Then you have the other scenario where you're able to prepare them. If you're able to prepare them, like I've said in some of the other videos, we talked about preparing your loved ones, when we're talking about the impact, explaining the roles, understanding unflattering testimony. If you're in a position where you're able to prepare them in advance, that's great, because at least you can now lay the groundwork for what they will expect. And this way they're not shocked when these things happen. And it gives you a time to be able to come back after the fact and have discussions with them about, okay, this is how we got here. This is why we took this course of action. So this way there's no surprise. When you decide to file a lawsuit or engage in any legal process, that is your case. And invariably, you are going to be committed, interested, and dedicated to getting a positive and favorable outcome for your case. If you know that you're going to have to bring in people who are close to you in your circle in order to support that case or prove that case, you may find yourself in a situation where you're putting them in situations that they had not anticipated being in. You never intended to file, being in a position where you had to file. They were never in a position to have to feel like they have to come in to help your case. So when these worlds merge, if there is a possibility, and I stress this again, if you're in a position and it's legally permissible for you to engage your loved ones in terms of their role in helping you, please make sure that you're very clear about what that is. And if you have an attorney, by all means, talk to your attorney about what they should be prepared for, and allowing them to get as much information as possible. I often tell people that engaging in the legal process is something that most people probably don't want to do, never planned on doing, hope to never do again in your life. But if you got to do it right.